Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds, who is in South Dakota right now, pheasant hunting, I believe. Senator, that's my beautiful home state there. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I've been wanting to talk to you about this. So this is obviously a very important issue for me as a South Dakotan that comes from a ranching family. But I have to ask you, in the conversations that you've had with the administration and, other lawmakers, is there a chance that you could change the president's mind when it comes to quadrupling imports from Argentina?
Well, look, first of all, thanks for coming out here to near Presho, South Dakota. I can share with you that these ranchers out here, they still like the president. They think he's done a great job in a lot of different areas, but you're right, they haven't been very happy with him, suggesting that he brings in more Argentinian beef. What they'd really like to see him do, and what we've suggested to Secretary Rollins and to the president, is let's make more American beef. Just like he did American energy, he didn't, because he's not bringing in petroleum products from other countries. He's actually increasing the amount of energy using American resources. Let's do the same thing with our beef and start out, number one, let's do country or mandatory country of origin labeling. That way everybody would know, all the consumers would know, is this foreign beef or is it a product of the USA? Let them make that decision then. The other thing that could be done right now, we've only got 4 major packers. They control over 80% of the entire market. And they also have a lot of their own beef from out of the United States that they like to bring into the United States. Our cattle producers would like to get a fair shot at allowing their product to compete, but that means that they're being able to identify their beef as U.S. beef. And right now we can't do that.
Senator, all my buddies left this morning. They landed in Sioux Falls not long ago. They're going to have a good time out there with your other export, pheasant. But with that being said, I will move on from that, as the hunter in me had to bring that up. In our introduction there, someone made the comment that we're hitting an all-time high. I presume that means on the price of beef. So, I mean, I understand that this is an industry, farmers, ranchers, catered to by the government on both sides, generally speaking, from subsidies to just understanding the hard work that goes into it. At the same time, the American consumer is the main constituent for President Trump. Beef, cattle, the price of meat is expensive. Isn't it his job also to bring the price down? And unlike oil and gas, where you can get a tanker to come over quickly, or you start drilling quickly, you can't just grow cows quickly. I mean, you're talking about a couple of seasons of change. How does that fit in? Like, are you talking about purchasing cattle for American ranchers? How does that fit into, like, let's do more cattle at home? That's not something you do overnight.
Yeah, first of all, you've got to have more pasture land made available. We've got a lot of federal lands out there. It's more difficult for a lot of these guys to get on and actually allow their cattle to graze on those federal lands. The other thing, it does take a rancher time to, when he has a cow-calf operation, will decide when those calves get to be of age, male and female, does he keep a few of the females to expand his herd, or does he sell them?
Yeah.
And lately, the price of cattle being sold by that rancher is so high that he's not sure he can make a profit on it 2 years from now, because it takes about a year and a half before you'll actually see a calf out of that heifer. And so that's part of the challenge we've got. But once again, we're better off to look at this thing and say, let's build our own herd. Let's get that herd back up again. And the American producer, if they have some stability in the market, they'll do that. And oh, by the way, we'd love to have you guys come on out and hunt some roosters with us as well.
Well, we'll take you up on that. But, Senator, why are beef prices so high?
Well, to begin with, we've had a drought. And when they had a drought, what happened is a lot of the cattle producers said, I'm not sure I can take care of the livestock I've got. And so they started reducing the herd. But along with reducing the herd, when they go to market with it, they've decided that number one, they're getting a good price. And they're getting a good price in part because we've got Mexico has been restricted from some of the beef that they've been able to bring in because we've been worried about disease coming across the border. That's impacted the price of beef as well. So there's been some restrictions on beef coming across the border. We also know that in South America there is we've had some concern with particularly Brazilian beef, with whether or not the health and the standards are there in the Brazilian beef, and we've really appreciated the fact that the president has put a 50% tariff on Brazilian beef. But because of that, our guys in a drought didn't have the size of the herds that they really wanted. In the meantime, they're prepared to rebuild it again, but they've got to have some consistency in the market. Once again, they're not afraid to compete with anybody in the world in a free market. But let's at least be able to identify U.S. beef and North American beef as just exactly that. Let's separate it out. Let's have these packers actually identify a country of origin labeling and let that consumer decide whether or not they want the highest quality beef in the world, which is American beef. And let's decide whether or not they want to buy foreign beef, if it's going to be made available, or U.S. beef. I think they'll choose U.S. beef.
Senator Guy Benson, and I understand the point that you're making, and I'm sensitive to those challenges that you're talking about for our ranchers and our cattle guys here in the United States, but the president really campaigned heavily on the issue of prices and affordability. And with meat and beef prices hitting these highs and still going up, what is the problem from a consumer's perspective? They can go out and pay less for beef. If we're bringing some of it in from an allied country like Argentina, isn't that beneficial to the consumer?
Well, first of all, it may help them a little bit right now, but it's not going to help them long term. And I think what the president really wants to do is to build up the American supply chain. Yeah. And that's the message that we're trying to send is you've got to get started on this. It does take several months for that to hit the market. And if they don't have stability in this market, if they see the prices start to drop, and as soon as the president suggested he was going to do that, it dropped the market limit over $8 per hundredweight 2 days out of 3. So that's what they're concerned about is right in the middle of this time of the year in which they're actually marketing their livestock, it really hit them hard, and it cost them a lot of money.
South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck out there hunting today.